Want to share with you another Triple P tip sheet. This one is called Balancing Work and Family. And part of the reason this is just a thing that we're finding a lot of people talking about is either working from home or going out. Just having kids home is bringing extra challenges in, we kind of had everything worked out, we have our routines, and then this has thrown in a whole new loop in how we do this. So it seems to be a topic that's on parents' minds. In other good news, Triple P practitioner Trisha Lightfoot has prepared for us a full webinar on this theme based on this tip sheet. We're going to be releasing that very shortly. So I'm going to give a couple of tips today to give you an idea of the kinds of things that are in there. And then pretty soon we'll be sharing a link so that you can get a more full description of some of the options. And as with anything in Triple P, she'll present ideas and thoughts and strategies, and then you will have the opportunity to choose ones that you might be interested in and to think about how they work for you, how they might work. So that's how all of our Triple P interventions work, is that we have ideas and things that, there's research behind how helpful they are to other people, but your family, what's going to work for you. And so that's so you're going to be the best at figuring out how you're going to use those and what you want to use. So we have that webinar coming up. Exciting time. So let us know if you want to message us or whatever, we can get you information on that. So for today, I just wanted to share a couple of things from this tip sheet that might be interesting. Like always, the first thing we're going to do in any Triple P intervention is we're going to try to prevent problem behaviors before we learn how to manage them. So the first thing is to just create a setting in which we have the least likely chance of problems happening. So a couple of the tips here. One of them is just to teach children to do things for themselves. I think this is especially important right now. This is an opportunity right now. I'm finding my kids are learning more life skills in these last 2 to 3 weeks than in, a year coming up to this. It was always, it's a lot quicker for me to just do things, make dinner, do whatever, than it is to teach them to do it. And so previously, a lot of times I would just do that, and now all of a sudden they have time on their hands. And so we're just doing a lot more. They've made shelves, and they've cooked, and they've baked, and they've helped out with things that are just things we wouldn't always take the time to get to. And so this is, for the long term, these things are going to be beneficial to them. And for the short term, this can make life easier. So if it's little kids, helping that, maybe now they start getting dressed for themselves to help you more, or they're brushing their teeth, they're making their breakfast. Older kids, they're making lunch, they're learning to cook. They're learning to do things that maybe we haven't always had time. So for the short term, it helps us manage everything, and for the long term, these are obviously going to be good skills for them. Another thing I'm hearing from parents who are working from home, and not everybody is, some people are still, is that some people miss the commute. That there's something about the time going to work and the time coming home that gets you set up for your day and gets you set up to be home. Some people don't miss it at all, some people are missing it. So one of the tips on here is to develop a leaving home routine and to have some basic ground rules. So whether you are leaving or whether you're staying home, having a routine that gives kids a set of steps that kind of signals when it's time for the next thing. So maybe previously it was, you get up, you get dressed, you brush your teeth, you have your breakfast, you put your things in your backpack, and then if there's some time, you can play before leaving for school or getting on the bus or whatever. We need to have the equivalent of that now that things are different and they're not going to school. It can be easy to just kind of let those routines slide. So it might be, maintaining that routine. So at a certain time every day, I'm going to get you up, we're going to get dressed, we're going to have breakfast, and then I'm going to kiss you goodbye and kind of go into my room or go wherever it is I'm going to work, or I'm going to leave, and laying out what are those ground rules for while you're gone or for while you're working, so that your kids know that it signals to them, it puts in them, okay, now this is what's happening. I know that when we follow this routine, the next thing is that I can't talk to you for this amount of time, or you're not available to me. Then the next tips are to make your family a priority when you're home and to make your work a priority when you're at work. These are 2 separate tips in here, and this can be challenging, to turn off work thoughts when you're with your family and to remind yourself that this is your time with them, and then to turn off home thoughts when you're at work and get your thing done. Now, part of this depends on the ages of your children and all that kind of thing, how much you're able to do this. But to try as much as possible to have for yourself. So while we said the routines help signal to children that it's time to switch gears now, same thing for you. So what are the routines you follow that lead up to, okay, now I'm in my workspace, I'm doing my work, I know that I have set my kids up, they know what they're doing, and now I focus on my work while I'm here. And then same thing at the end of the day or at lunch or at the breaks or whatever. What are the things I did to leave my work in a way that now I can focus on them? It's very easy right now for everything to kind of bleed in together. So I'm thinking about work and I'm worrying about that while I'm playing with my kids, or I'm worrying about what my kids are doing while I'm at work. So whatever things you can do to make that distinction and to prioritize those things. My favorite is lists. So before I leave work for the end of the day or the end of the break or whatever, to write down those things that are still on my mind so I can let them go. They suggest kind of having some coping statements. So instead of worrying about I have so much to do, I can't possibly get it all done, this is driving me crazy, how can I get all this done with my kids home, to come up with some alternatives, some alternative thoughts that you remind yourself. So the example that they give, and this is for normal life, pre-COVID-19, was I'm at home and off duty. I will think about that tomorrow morning when I will work out a plan to deal with my workload. So what is that thought right now? For me, it's I wrote that on my list. I will remember to do it as soon as I got back to work. So that as much as possible, I can keep that distinction between work and family, even though they're all very blended right now. And then a final step is to have and it's related to what we already talked about, so to develop a relaxing coming home routine. So in the same way that you kind of had to compensate for not having a commute or however you do that in the morning, to still have that point where you cut off your work. And so what is that routine now that signals to your children that now you're home, or now it's time to move into that family life for the evening, or whatever that is. So maybe it's what you always did. Hug them, kiss them, ask them how their day was. Even if you've seen each other more, to just signal for yourself and for your children that you're moving into a new time period now. You're moving back into family life, away from work. There are other tips on here that, again, Tricia will be sharing coming up when we do her webinar. So if you would like to get in on that, let us know. As always, you can call our phone line, 226-0160. That's a 574 number. Facebook is a great way to connect with us. Pop in a little message there, write in the comments, shares, likes, all of that is appreciated. It helps us get out to more parents. And then we do also have our Triple P email address. So info@elkhartcounty.org. And by sending to that, we can follow up with you on this topic or any other topic. We can refer you to other kinds of parenting support available. Whatever your needs are, let us know, and whether it's Triple P or whether referring out to somebody else, we can kind of let you know how things are going. So thanks for being here with us today, and stay well out there.